"You're pathetic, Emma. Always have been, always will be," Marcus sneered as he signed the last document, officially transferring our father's entire fortune to his name. I watched him from across the mahogany desk in Dad's study, my face carefully neutral despite the storm raging inside me. My name is Emma Chen, and I'm watching my brother steal my inheritance right in front of my eyes. Not that he sees it as stealing. In his mind, he's always deserved everything. The golden child, the successful son, the one who could do no wrong in our father's eyes. At least that's what he thought. "Just sign here," the lawyer said, sliding the paper toward me. His expression was uncomfortable, probably wondering why I wasn't fighting harder. Why I was letting my brother take everything our father had built over 40 years. I picked up the pen, its weight feeling strangely light considering what it represented. "You're sure about this, Emma?" the lawyer asked one last time. "Once you sign, the entire estate goes to Marcus. The house, the accounts, the business, everything." Marcus rolled his eyes. "She's sure. Aren't you, little sister? It's not like you ever contributed anything anyway. All those years playing around with your art while I helped Dad run the company. This is just making things right." I thought about the last conversation I had with Dad just 3 days before he passed. How he called me to his hospital room when Marcus wasn't there. How he pressed a small key into my palm. His eyes cleared despite the medication. "The safe in my study," he'd whispered. "Not the one Marcus knows about. There's another behind the painting of the lighthouse. Wait until the time is right, Emma. You'll know when." I hadn't opened it yet. Somehow, I knew Dad wanted me to wait for this exact moment. "You're right, Marcus," I said, signing my name with a steady hand. "Take it all. The money, the house, the company. You deserve it." He didn't even try to hide his triumphant smile as the lawyer gathered the papers. I could see him mentally calculating his newfound wealth. Over 50 million in liquid assets, the family estate worth another 15, and Chen Industries, valued at well over 200 million. "I want you out of the house by tomorrow," he said, standing up and straightening his designer suit. "Since I'm feeling generous, I'll give you until noon." I nodded, already heading for the door. But I paused at the doorway, unable to resist one last comment. "Congratulations, Marcus. I hope it makes you happy." He was already on his phone, probably calling his golf buddies to brag about his victory. He didn't even look up as I left. That night, I waited until the house was quiet. Marcus had gone out to celebrate, probably drinking champagne that cost more than most people's monthly salary. The staff had all gone home, leaving me alone in the massive estate that had been my home for 28 years. I made my way to Dad's study, my footsteps silent on the thick carpet. The painting of the lighthouse had hung there for as long as I could remember. A simple scene of waves crashing against rocky shores, the lighthouse beam cutting through a stormy sky. I'd always loved it, spending hours as a child making up stories about the lighthouse keeper and the ships he guided to safety. Now, I carefully lifted it off the wall, revealing a small wall safe I'd never known existed. My hands shook slightly as I inserted the key Dad had given me. It turned smoothly, and the safe door swung open with a soft click. Inside was a single envelope, thick with documents and a USB drive. On the envelope, in Dad's precise handwriting, was written, "For Emma, when the time is right." I took them both, closed the safe, and rehung the painting. In my room, I opened my laptop and plugged in the USB drive. What I saw made my breath catch. Files, hundreds of them. Financial records, emails, photographs, all documenting years of Marcus's secret dealings, embezzlement, tax fraud, illegal contracts with shell companies. My perfect brother had been stealing from our father for years, hiding his tracks, but never realizing Dad had known all along. But that wasn't all. I opened the envelope next, my hands trembling as I read through document after document. Dad hadn't just known about Marcus's crimes, he'd planned for this exact moment. He created a second company completely separate from Chen Industries, built through careful investments and hidden acquisitions. A company worth even more than the one Marcus had just stolen. And he'd left it all to me. I sat back in my chair, letting out a long breath. All those years Marcus had spent mocking my art career, belittling my choices, thinking I was the family failure. Dad had been watching, learning who his children really were. And he'd made his true choice long before he died. My phone buzzed with a text from Marcus. "Don't forget, out by noon tomorrow." And don't try taking anything valuable. I'll know. I smiled at the screen, thinking about the safe's contents tucked safely in my bag. Don't worry, I typed back. I'm taking exactly what Dad wanted me to have. Let Marcus have his victory for now. Let him think he'd won everything. In just a few weeks, when the quarterly reports came due and the auditors started asking questions, he'd learned the truth. About his crimes. About Dad's real legacy. About the sister he'd always underestimated. I packed a small bag, just clothes, some photos, and my laptop. The rest didn't matter. Tomorrow, Marcus would wake up thinking he owned everything. He didn't know that Dad's real fortune, the one he'd built in secret, was already being transferred to accounts only I could access. I took one last look around my childhood bedroom, remembering all the times Marcus had made me feel small, worthless, less than him. Dad had seen it all, and in the end he'd made sure justice would be served. Goodbye, Marcus, I whispered to the quiet house. Enjoy it while you can. The next morning, I walked out of the family estate without looking back. Marcus had already left for his company, probably eager to start throwing his weight around as the new CEO. He hadn't even bothered to watch me leave. I was already forgotten, just another loose end tied up in his perfect victory. I checked into a modest hotel downtown, not the kind of place Marcus would ever deign to enter. It felt strange being there with just one suitcase after a lifetime of luxury. But I didn't mind. Everything I needed was on my laptop and in the documents from Dad's safe. My phone kept buzzing with messages from family friends and business associates, all of them shocked by my decision to give up my inheritance. I ignored most of them, but one call I had to take. Emma Chen, a crisp voice said when I answered. This is Diana Walsh from Cooper & Walsh. Your father arranged for me to contact you exactly 1 week after the estate transfer. I sat up straighter. Dad's secret company had been established through Cooper & Walsh, one of the most prestigious law firms in the country. Yes, Ms. Walsh. I've been expecting your call. Your father left very specific instructions, she continued. The new company, Phoenix Enterprises, is now fully under your control. However, he also left a letter that I'm supposed to read to you before we proceed. Are you somewhere private? I moved to the small desk by the window, pulling out a notebook. I am now. Deanna cleared her throat and began reading. My dearest Emma, if Diana is reading this to you, then everything has happened exactly as I predicted. Your brother's greed has finally won out, and he's taken what he thinks is everything. I know you're probably hurt, confused, and angry, but I need you to understand why I let this happen. I felt tears prick at my eyes hearing Dad's words. Even now, after everything, he was still teaching me. I built Chen Industries from nothing, Diana continued reading. But somewhere along the way, I lost sight of what mattered. I spoiled Marcus, gave him everything he wanted, never taught him the value of hard work or integrity. By the time I realized my mistake, it was too late. He was already stealing from the company, thinking I didn't know. My hand tightened around the phone as Diana read on. But you, Emma, you were different. While Marcus demanded everything, you asked for nothing. When he took credit for others' work, you quietly excelled on your own merit. Your art, which he mocked so cruelly, showed me that you understood something he never will. True value isn't in money, but in what you create. Phoenix Enterprises is more than just a company, Dad's letter continued. It's everything I should have built from the start. Clean investments, ethical practices, partnerships with artists and creators. The kind of business that makes the world better, not just richer. And you, my daughter, are the only one I trust to run it. Diana paused, letting the words sink in. There's more, she said. Your father included detailed instructions about what to do when Marcus's crimes come to light. Would you like me to continue? I wiped away tears I hadn't realized were falling. Yes, I said firmly. Tell me everything. For the next hour, Diana laid out Dad's plan. It was brilliant in its simplicity. Marcus's theft from Chen Industries had been carefully documented over years. When the quarterly audit came due in 3 weeks, everything would be exposed. The company would face investigation, and Marcus would face criminal charges. But Dad had prepared for that too. Phoenix Enterprises was positioned to step in and save Chen Industries from collapse, protecting the employees' jobs and the company's legacy. And I would be the one to do it. Your father wanted you to have time to prepare, Diana explained. To set up your new office, meet key partners. Understand the full scope of Phoenix before everything becomes public. Are you ready for that? I looked out the hotel window at the city skyline, thinking about Marcus sitting in Dad's old office, believing he'd won it all. More than ready, I replied. The next 2 weeks passed in a blur of meetings and preparations. Diana introduced me to Phoenix's executive team, all handpicked by Dad for their integrity and vision. I toured the company's main office, a modern building across town from Chen Industries, filled with art galleries and creative spaces alongside traditional offices. Everything about Phoenix was different from Chen Industries, where the old company was all mahogany and tradition. Phoenix was innovation and light. Dad had built it specifically for me, understanding my vision in a way I never knew he did. Marcus called once during those weeks, probably drunk and feeling magnanimous. "Hey, little sister," he slurred into my voicemail. "Hope you're not living on the streets. Maybe if you apologize nicely, I'll give you a small allowance. Can't have you embarrassing the family name, right?" I saved the message. It would be interesting to play it back to him later, when everything changed. The day before the quarterly audit, I sat in my new office at Phoenix, looking through the final pieces of evidence. The scope of Marcus's crimes was staggering. Millions siphoned through fake contracts, bribes paid to cover his tracks, years of systematic theft from our father's company. Diana walked in, carrying more documents. "The auditors have everything they need," she said. "By this time tomorrow, your brother's perfect world is going to implode. Are you sure you want to be there when it happens?" I thought about all the times Marcus had belittled me, mocked my choices, treated me like I was nothing. "Oh yes," I said, standing up and smoothing my dress. "I wouldn't miss it for the world." I picked up my phone and dialed Marcus's number. He answered on the fourth ring, sounding irritated at the interruption. "What do you want, Emma?" "Just wanted to let you know I'll be stopping by Chen Industries tomorrow," I said casually, "around 2 p.m. when the auditors are there." There was a pause, then a laugh that didn't quite hide his nervousness. "Why? Coming to beg for your inheritance back? A bit late for that, don't you think?" "No, Marcus. I'm coming to take back what's mine. And this time, I'm doing it the right way." I hung up before he could respond, imagining him sitting there in Dad's office, starting to sweat as he wondered what I knew. Tomorrow would change everything, and for once, I was ready to step into the spotlight. Dad had taught me one final lesson. Sometimes justice takes patience, and the sweetest victories are the ones you earn through integrity, not greed. I arrived at Chen Industries at exactly 2 p.m. the next day. The lobby was buzzing with unusual activity, men and women in suits moving purposefully through security, carrying briefcases and laptops. The audit team had arrived. Marcus was waiting for me by the elevators, trying to look casual, but I could see the tension in his shoulders. "What's this about, Emma?" he asked as I approached, keeping his voice low. "What are you playing at?" I smiled, the same calm smile he'd given me when he took everything. "Let's talk in your office," I said, emphasizing the word "your." We wouldn't want to make a scene. The ride up to the top floor was silent. Marcus kept checking his phone, probably getting messages about the auditors already finding irregularities. By the time we reached Dad's old office, now stripped of all his personal touches, Marcus was visibly sweating. "All right," he snapped, closing the door behind us. "What do you want? Money? Is that it? Name your price and let's end whatever game you're playing." I walked to the large windows overlooking the city, remembering all the times I'd stood here with Dad. "It's interesting," I said, not turning around. "All those years you spent stealing from this company, did you ever wonder if Dad knew?" The silence behind me was deafening. When I turned, Marcus's face had gone pale. "What did you say?" he whispered. I pulled out my phone and played a video security footage from this very office, showing Marcus accessing financial records late at night, making transfers to hidden accounts. He knew everything, Marcus. Every theft, every bribe, every lie. He documented all of it. Marcus lunged for the phone, but I stepped back, keeping it out of reach. "That's just a copy," I said calmly. "The originals are already with the audit team, along with years of evidence Dad collected. Should be reaching their desks right about." My phone buzzed with a text from Diana. Right on cue. "Now." Marcus collapsed into Dad's chair, his carefully constructed world crumbling around him. "You're lying," he said, but his voice shook. "Dad would never." "Dad gave me a choice." I cut in. I could have exposed you right after he died, but he knew, and I agreed, that letting you take everything first, letting your greed show its true colors, was the better path. A commotion outside the office drew our attention. Through the glass walls, we could see security escorting several auditors toward us, followed by 2 police officers. "Mr. Chen," one of the auditors called through the door. "We need to speak with you immediately regarding some serious discrepancies." Marcus's face twisted with rage. He stood up, knocking over a stack of papers. "You planned this," he snarled at me. "You're destroying everything I built." "No, Marcus, you destroyed it yourself. Every time you stole from Dad, every time you chose greed over integrity. I'm just here to clean up the mess." The door opened and the group entered. One of the officers stepped forward, already reaching for his handcuffs. "Marcus Chen, we have a warrant for your arrest on charges of embezzlement, fraud, and tax evasion." As they read him his rights, Marcus kept staring at me, disbelief warring with fury on his face. "You're nothing," he spat. "You'll run this company into the ground. You're just an artist playing at business." I smiled, thinking about Phoenix Enterprises waiting in the wings. Actually, about that, I nodded to Diana, who had appeared in the doorway. She stepped forward, laying a thick folder on the desk. "Phoenix Enterprises," she announced to the room, "has submitted a bid to acquire Chen Industries' assets, protecting the jobs of all employees and ensuring the company's survival through this transition." Marcus's eyes widened as understanding finally dawned. "Phoenix, that's not possible. I've never even heard of them." "That's because Dad built it in secret," I said softly. "Built it for me, while you were too busy stealing from him to notice. And now, dear brother, I'm going to take everything you thought you'd won and turn it into something better." As the officers led him away, I sat down in Dad's chair, no, my chair now, and looked at the city sprawling below. The next few months would be challenging, merging the 2 companies, rebuilding trust with employees and clients. But I was ready. My phone buzzed one last time. A message from Diana: "Your father would be proud." I thought about the painting of the lighthouse, still hanging in the study at home. Dad had always said it reminded him that even in the darkest storms, there was someone watching, guiding ships to safety. Now I understood. He had been my lighthouse all along, quietly showing me the way while letting me find my own path through the storm. Marcus had chosen greed, believing that money was power. But Dad had taught me the real secret to success: integrity, patience, and the courage to stand up for what's right, even when it means playing the long game. The news of Marcus's arrest and my takeover of both companies spread quickly through the business world. Some called it justice, others called it revenge. But I knew the truth. It was simply the final lesson from a father who had wanted his children to understand the true meaning of legacy. 1 year later, I stood on the stage at the annual Business Awards, accepting the award for Most Innovative Company of the Year. Phoenix Chen Industries, as it was now known, had become a model of ethical business practices, supporting artists and creators while maintaining profitable growth. Marcus watched it all from his prison cell, serving a 10-year sentence for his crimes. He still sent occasional letters, alternating between threats and pleas for help. I kept them all in a folder marked Lessons Learned. The lighthouse painting now hangs in my office at Phoenix Chen Industries. Every time I look at it, I remember Dad's words from that day in the hospital. "Wait until the time is right, Emma. You'll know when." He was right. I did know. And now, looking out at the empire I'd built from the ashes of Marcus's greed, I knew something else too. Sometimes the best revenge isn't taking everything from someone who wronged you. It's showing them that they never took anything from you at all. Because in the end, what Dad left me wasn't just the company or money or even justice. He left me the greatest gift of all: the knowledge that I was strong enough to weather any storm and wise enough to be my own lighthouse when the waters got rough.